Hello to DolphinsThirsty.com. We talk all things Dolphins because all things Dolphins matter when we're on Dolphins Chatter. And today is going to be an episode of Dolphins Chatter that talks about the 2023 schedule for our Miami Dolphins. And once again, welcome to Dolphins Thirsty. And this is Dolphins Chatter. If you like this video, please give it a like if you find it on YouTube, or an extra special thank you if you found it here on DolphinsThirsty.com. We'd love to have you leave any feedback so we can know what to do to improve. Or if you like what you see, let us know that you like. So much thank you. And now, with no further ado, let's get to that schedule that we all been talking about over the past couple of days. I did a live show on it already with my partner Justin. You can find on YouTube that aired earlier today, which is May 12th, 2023, the day after the official schedule release of the NFL. And what we mainly care about is the Miami Dolphins. And there it is. There's this schedule. As we knew earlier in the week, there are reports of the Dolphins traveling to Germany to take on the defending Super Bowl Kansas City Chiefs is true, and it's been confirmed. It was already confirmed the day before the schedule leak, and that is nice to know. At least if we have to go overseas, it's a road game. We get to keep all 9. Yes, I say 9 home games because this year, with the odd number of games that the NFL has gone to, we have that game on the road, 8, and then 9 at home. So this year's the 9 on the home front. So that is very good. Then the other games that you see that stands out real quick is the Black Friday game against the Jets. That also came out earlier, the day after Thanksgiving. And then we got 2 Sunday night games, both on the road. Then we get a Monday night football game at home later in the season against the Titans. But anyway, thank you again for joining. We're going to run down the schedule now a little bit more, but thank you for joining. Please like and subscribe as you find us on YouTube, and please visit DolphinsThirsty.com. If you did find us on YouTube, or if you found us on DolphinsThirsty.com, please try to comment, tell us what we can do, reach out to us. If you don't want to comment on the site, you can get us at DolphinsThirsty@gmail.com. Always willing to take good advice, bad advice. Let us know what you think. Now let's talk more about the schedule. That's what we're all here for. So thank you again, and we're going to bring up the schedule. So the first week of the season, we will be traveling across sea. It's the only trip that we have to go all the way across the nation this year, and we get it out of the way in week 1. As once again, it'll be Justin Herbert awaits Tua at his home. So, 2 years in a row, we've had to travel out there to play the Chargers on their home turf, but that's okay. If we play a solid football team, they're a solid football team, but if we play a solid game, we should come out on top this time. But there's no would-have, could-haves, and should-haves, but it's a game that we should be at least very competitive in. And I think everyone's going to be chalking up as a 1-0. I'm not that quick yet. That's a tough one. I'm not going to go game by game telling you which one I think they're going to win and lose. But I will tell you, I expect this ball club to win at a minimum 10 games and hopefully 11 or 12, but minimum of 10, or to me, this year's been a disappointment. If you sneak into the playoffs at 9, then most likely it'll be another one and done. But of course, if they get hot in the playoffs and win, then what I'm saying right now, the ball will not matter if they only win 9 and sneak into the playoffs. But they've got to get into the playoffs and they've got to win a game. But I'm thinking this roster should win 10. I'm going to run down each game, but I'm not going to really make each prediction because it's really kind of a fruitless thing. Even though it's a little fun at times, I give you on games I think we might have a better chance to win and stuff. But at Chargers is definitely going to be a tough, competitive game, but winnable. If both teams play their best, I do believe the Dolphins could come out on top. I do not believe the Dolphins played their best when they last visited Los Angeles Chargers. So hard for me not to say San Diego. So I got over that first hump. Then week 2 is our first night game of the year as we travel to take on the familiar New England Patriots up in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Massachusetts. Easier to read than say. And that's going to be another hard fought game because it's within the division. Yes, the Dolphins are better on paper, but you're still going against a Bill Belichick team. They're not going to roll over and die for anyone. They're going to be a tough out, and they could be the deciding factor of division titles of like what team can do better against them this year. Then finally, in week 3, we get to return home to South Florida. The Dolphins get to return home to South Florida to face the Denver Broncos at Hard Rock Stadium. So that's another game, though. I like to say the closest I would think to be winnable is this is a competitive game that you should come out on top. But we know how that goes sometimes. Then week 4, it gets real again, and you're right back into the thick of the division fight, and you're on the road visiting the Buffalo Bills, who beat us up there twice last year, but both in close games, one in the regular season and one in the playoffs. As you know, if you watch those games, they could have gone either way almost the whole game, but the Bills pulled them out in the end. That's going to be a tough game for sure. Then we get to week 5, Giants. They don't come to South Florida too often. This game's already very popular in the aftermarket ticket wise between New Yorkers wanting to come down and Dolphin fans wanting to see a team they don't see. That's going to be a packed stadium, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of Giants fans in Hard Rock Stadium and in week 5. Then in week 6, the Dolphins take on the Panthers, another home game. So that's 2 home games in a row. And the Panthers should be a competitive game, but that's another game. And I believe the Dolphins should come out on top of both the Giants and Panthers. I'm not marking them up as victories because if I knew, I would go bet my money on them, and now I'm going to have to worry about earning money. So those are the 2 home games in a row. Then it's back to another, right into the Den's nest. This is more like the Eagles' nest. This is going right back into Sunday night football, prime time once again against the Eagles, the defending NFC championship Eagles, who many say are the best team on paper in all of football this year, heading into the 2023 season. So needless to say, that's going to be a very, very tough contest for our Miami Dolphins. And they would have to play their best to have a chance to win that game. But anyone on this schedule, as I go one by one here, I believe the Dolphins could beat anyone on this schedule, but they could just easily as lose to anyone on this schedule. That's why these players love the cliche week by week, game by game, because really true. If you don't, you run into trouble quick. So anyway, finally, after that, we get a division home game against the Patriots in week 8. So we already by week 8, we would have already played New England twice. So it'd be no game towards the end against the Patriots. So by week 8, we're done with the Patriots for the year. Then week 9 is the game that made headlines the day before the schedule released. The NFL announced their international games, and it has one of those international games was our Miami Dolphins traveling abroad over to Germany to see them take on the defending Super Bowl champions in the Kansas City Chiefs. So again, a very tough game. And like I said, the Patriots home game will be tough. It's in division, but it's another game I feel like we should come out on top. Then after traveling overseas, you can see there on the schedule, we come back for a week 10 bye. So we will have that time off and then follow it up with a home game against the Raiders at the Rock. And another game I feel like we should come out on top, but will be another tough battle. They got Jimmy G, and their coach is decent, probably with a quarterback who's worked with Jimmy G in the past. So that should be another tough battle, but one that I would like to see. Then moving on, the first ever Black Friday game in NFL history has our Miami Dolphins taken on the New York Jets up in New York in the Meadowlands area. This is another division game that's going to be hard fought. It's our first game of the season against them, and it all comes all the way in week 12. but we will be seeing them very soon as I read down this schedule after that Week 12 game on Black Friday. Another tough game. In Week Dan Marino, or if you want to say Week Jake Scott, or better known as Week 13, the Dolphins will travel to play Washington Commanders. Make sure I said their name right. Washington Commanders up in the DC area before coming home in Week 14, where we get our prime time home Monday night contest against the Tennessee Titans. Then Week 15. This last part of the schedule, you will notice 4 of the last 5 games. That's something that stands out to me. Like when I looked at the schedule officially, 4 of the last 5 games are home games. So if we are competitive all season and we come down the stretch and we are playing tough games at the end, at least we will have the home field advantage. So, like, where was I? Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. Then we follow it up with a Jets. This is part of a 3-game homestand. Then we follow it up with a home game against the Jets. We just faced them in Week 12, and here we are. We're facing them already again in Week 15. And that one, we get the home nod. Then in Week 16, one of the popular teams of all football, what happened to be my least favorite team outside of our division rivals, the Dallas Cowboys, come to visit South Florida, and they will be taking on the Dolphins. Then our last road game of the regular season might be our coldest game of the regular season as we travel up and play the Ravens in Baltimore in Week 17. So that could possibly be our most weather game that we play in. We will see, though. Maybe the calendar will be nice to us. The weather gods would be nice to us. Then in Week 18, we come home for a game against our division arch rivals, Buffalo Bills. We played them all the way back in Week 4. Now they finally come and they close out the season in a game that could have divisional implications at hand if all goes right for the Dolphins. Well, if all really goes right for the Dolphins, of course, we would hope the Dolphins may have the division wrapped up and that game's not even that important. But I can't imagine it not being important. If all goes right, we should be, because the Bills are good, the Jets are good. There's not going to be much room probably for coasting towards the end of the season. So that game could have a lot riding on it. Hopefully it's not just for the last playoff spot that we need to win to squeak in again. Hopefully it's for, like I say, a very important spot. If nothing else, it'd be great if it'd be for the division title. So that's a quick rundown. I would love to know what you guys think. Like I said, I did not name each one, but to me, there should be 10 wins at a minimum, and hopefully more than the 10. 11 or 12 would be great. 13 is getting too much 3. But to me, that 10 and 11 win is a must get to. With this talent they have on this roster, there's no excuse saying, oh, we had a tough schedule. Oh, the NFL hates us. It's just how it falls, how our record fell last year. This is how we fall. And this is all, remember, based on last year's schedule, people. So this year, some of these teams aren't going to be as good as they were last year. Some of the teams that weren't as good are going to be better this year. Excuse me. So it's just hard to know really how much value the strength of schedule. To me, the strength of schedule, like say around Week 10, and you're one of those teams in the hunt or you're in the playoff spot, then they show the remaining strength of schedule. Then that's based on this year of what we have left, and that's real. But as you can see, I'll throw the schedule back up there. Our last few games, our strength of schedule is probably going to be very strong because the Titans always find a way to be really solid. And then the Jets, if they live up to the expectations people are placing on them, are going to be really solid. If the Cowboys live up to their expectations, they're going to really be solid. Again, with Baltimore and the Bills, I mean, though that's a brutal stretch at the end, at least 4 of the 5 of those last games are in the friendly area of South Florida. So we don't have to worry about the weather other than maybe some rain or a little bit of cool, but nothing bad at all. Hopefully it's still nice and warm. I live here in South Florida, so I know I've spent many Christmas days, if I wasn't working, walking around in t-shirt and shorts. So I know that it can still be hot as heck here in South Florida even in December. So there are going to be some games that we should win, and there's good games every, of course, we're going to lose. But I look at the schedule and I see a team that should win 10 or 11 games. I mean, that should be the goal. Of course, the main goal is to get to the playoffs, win in the playoffs, get to the big game at the end in Las Vegas, better known as the Super Bowl, and win that. Because Mike McDaniel said in the offseason, there's only one happy team at the end of the year, and there's only one happy fan base at the end of the year. So hopefully the Dolphins are overdue for that honor. As we all know as Dolphin fans, it's been way too long that our Dolphins have been the greatest football team. And that's what we want. We want them. They're greatest in our heart, but we want them greatest so we can actually play this song with some meaning.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal.
Yes, this is torture me. What can I say?
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, because we're the Miami Dolphins.
There you go. That's what we want. We want that song to have meaning again. Yes, for you younger guys, it's probably a cheesy old song. I know it is, but I love it when they play because at the home games they play that after we score, and it's such a good song. So we need that playing a lot this year. So we'd be able to finally cheer for our Dolphins. And that's what I want. I want to be able to, I always cheer for them, but it'd be great to cheer for them in a Super Bowl, right? Instead of just having like other teams in and like really like, oh, I don't really care who wins. More worrying about maybe you don't want a certain team to win. And, you know, it's like, I'm tired of that. I want to be able to root for my team that I actually want to win, not just like, oh, okay, I hate the Bills. Thank God, I hope the Bills not earning the Super Bowl. But you get my, you know, like New England when they made like all their Super Bowl runs, you basically just started rooting that they don't win because instead of the team that you want win. That's not as fun. I want to be able to just root for my team and be like, yes, my team won, and other teams can fight. Other fans can hate us for being a winning team. That's what I want. I'm tired of this, you know, just one and done if we make the playoffs. And that's not even a guarantee most of the time. It's like make the playoffs and don't. That's what scares me about this coming year because the recent history is like make the playoff like 1 year every 5 years or whatever. I'm not looking at the math right now, but something like that. And then boom, nothing again. And then, you know, another few years, nothing. And then boom, get in the playoffs, do a one and done, and you're out. And it's just like, oh, it stinks. At least this year, you know, we took a step. Buffalo didn't kill us. So many teams have killed us when we went up and played Pittsburgh the year Tannehill got hurt. They just destroyed us. I mean, the game was over by halftime. It was just so bad. So hopefully this year we go up there, we get some W's during the regular season, enough to get us into the playoff, into the dance, get hot in the playoffs, and advance. That's what I want. I think that's what we can all agree on. Like I say, we may disagree on many topics about who's good, who's bad, who we like, who we don't like. But the one thing we can agree on, if you're watching this and if you found dolphinthirsty.com, is we all want the Dolphins to win. So we can agree on that note. Anyway, really, that's about it for today. It's just a schedule rundown, no new news. The Dalvin Cook rumors won't die completely because then story got leaked that the Minnesota Vikings might be moving on from Dalvin Cook once again. That rumor came out. That's fresh news. And of course, the Dolphins were immediately thought of because everyone's been thinking of that ever since that rumor that Barry Jackson said that the Dolphins had talked to them. Now Minnesota's not letting people talk to him. I guess they don't want him just like negotiating a contract and then they cut him. And then he like 1 day later, he's already going to be signed with a team. So they've cut that off. But they are willing to listen to a team, I guess, for trade offers. But anyway, that's it, guys. That's our schedule this year. Let me know how you think. If you found this on YouTube, make sure you give me a like and subscribe. Give me comments on where you think the Dolphins, or do you think if the Dolphins are going to win 10 or more games? Let me know. That'd be my over unders. And I'm not a gambler, so I don't have to worry about like 10.5, because you could say 10 or more or under 10. Let me know if you think they're going to win 10 or more or under 10 games. I'm hoping for the 10. That's what I want. Once again, I give you a quick look. I'm about to close out here with the ending video. And there you have it, our week by week schedule. Thank you so much, guys. As always, I'm happy that you joined us here today. And it's been a lot of fun here talking Dolphins chatter. And let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Give me those thumbs up. Give me the likes. And go Dolphins. Find me on anything on the social media as Dolphin Thirsty. I always follow back. If you guys have content on there and I know it's not a robot, I follow back. And it's good stuff, because I try to keep it nice and fun on the Twitter, in these days of age of all the crazies out there on the social media outlets. So let's do it. Let's go Dolphins. Thank you again. Like and subscribe. Fins up. It's going to be a fun season, guys. It's going to be a fun season.